Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This week, despite an unforecast shower on Sunday night, we managed to combine on Monday evening, and with the return of Ed from holiday, achieved a bonus 24 hectares of low input spring wheat at between 17 and 18% moisture. After negotiations, Ed returned to his own combine on Tuesday, and I managed a late cameo performance of 8 hectares, including the last of our flattened wheat weed control trials between 16 and 17% moisture. The negotiations enabled Ed to row up his last field for baling in the penultimate forecasted fine day, and left Wednesday available for us to complete our last 18 hectares on an outlying field, which requires additional help from Ed's tractor team. Unfortunately, Ed's combine broke down on Tuesday evening, so we returned to his farm after finishing our harvest on Wednesday the 18th, enabling him to finish his harvest on a bonus dry day Thursday the 19th. Morning everybody. So this week we finally finished combining on Wednesday, got through the last of the regenerative spring wheats, so we'll post some yields up and show you how those got along. But in essence, just to confirm the lessons we've learned, certainly drilling date confirmed once again, so that's multiple years. Drilling date makes no difference to yield in the spring crops, so we can afford to be patient. That trial with the flattening the wheat has proved very successful, particularly clean crop, so we're going to be rolling that out next year on a larger scale. We're going to a 30 hectare block, so we're going to actually plant rye in that case, roll it flat. And it's a wet block. We anticipate that we will be slow getting there, and therefore it'll give the rye a chance to get to stem extension. And then when we roll it, we're not going to crimp it, just going to roll it with our maul and then go back with the Cambridge rolls, and that assuming we've got to stem extension, we believe that'll crimp the stems enough to kill it, and we'll glyphosate afterwards. So and just to reiterate, the reason we believe it's so clean is because the stems cover the soil. So and finally the third lesson is the weeding trial. Really pleased with that. Kind of demonstrates in the trial, it showed less seed heads during the year. And interestingly, the reduction in blackgrass heads was mirrored by an increase in wheat heads. So just a straight substitution, and it provided about a half a ton premium. And that is weeding at the point of emergence. So right when you're anticipating the wheat come in, you go through and weed. And that builds on an AHDB study that said it's when the white tips of weeds are emerging, that's when they're most susceptible. So thank you to the AHDB for that idea. So those are the 3 lessons we're building on from this harvest. As you can see, we're out in a field. This is cultivated bean ground post Terra Star. We've been quite pleased with the Terra Star. I think my only comments would be wear is quite heavy on the Terra Star. We're also getting a little bit of trouble with our 6250, and I think it's a little bit susceptible to our new or like our standard high-speed cultivations. Both the Terra Star and the stubble rake produce a lot of dust and fine particles, and they're working their way underneath the floating cab, and they're really interfering with the suspension, the cab suspension, I'm getting lots of complaints about Jack's operator sort of ride quality. It's definitely being impaired. So we talked last year about planning to take the wheels off in order that we can clean out underneath the cab, but I think that this is going to be a twice a year operation, so that's quite onerous, getting tyre fitters in to take rear wheels off. You know, more to follow on that. So the end result is pretty good from the Terra Star. Sorry, I struggle a little bit with the names, but there we go. Terra Star. So you can see these sculpted bits here, and if you clear the trash away on the top, got a big chunk of unmoved ground, and then another sort of hole here. So, dimples, I suppose we would call them. And we've got this nice trash on it, like, I wouldn't quite describe this as crumb, but it will fall to bits. It will form a nice crumb on the top. A lot of people have been talking about slug pressure. My concern would be voids like this inside the plant where slugs can hide. So it's quite an even spread. However, there's quite a lot of this, you know, quite big, you know, stuff. So most of the small stuff, like most of the sort of bean haulm itself, stuff that's been through the chopper, as you can see, most of it is gone. There are, the Labrador wants to eat this. Look at this stupid dog. Right, there are, I would say that this is a more of an average than that. Looks like a bit of a chopper miss, but overall quite even. I think coming back to like chunks, you get very occasional chunks like this scale, you know, there's quite a void under there. Nice slug home. So we combined in this direction, and also the Terra Stars come in this direction. So I think we would be looking to go at sort of 90 degrees with the stubble rake. Give it one last hit. You do get very occasional piles like this. Yeah, there you go. See, that's like what do we say, 4 or 5 inches deep. Now I can't see any sort of slug trail underneath there, so that's quite a good sign. But one more pass, 90 degrees. I think clods like this would break down with a pass with the stubble rake. It's pretty aggressive, and it would just help spread out the trash one last time. The slight snag might be if we get a lot of rain after the stubble rake, and there's a danger that it could come down too fine, and then you get a lot of rain on it and it would settle. But after all, we're in a direct drilling system, so we can cope with that sort of environment, but yeah, it wouldn't be ideal. So those are the challenges for this year, the lessons learnt. Thank you very much for watching. Morning everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Saturday the 28th of September, and we have suffered some biblical rain this week. So between Monday, or over Monday night, we received 110 millimeters of rain, and it pretty much hasn't stopped raining all of this week. So we received 110 millimeters in 24 hours, and we've received a further 70 mil since then, so pushing on for 200 millimeters, we're about 800 mil, so what's that, nearly a quarter of our annual rainfall in less than a week. And I'm out here, actually HS2's on the horizon, so I just came out here to have a look at HS2, but this was at one of our last fields of spring wheat. We were planning to move this into winter beans, but as you can see from my boots, and it's pretty wet out here. And what I have found a little bit surprising is that all the small residue, sort of chaff and chopped straw, seems to have disappeared. Now, hopefully that was the worms that took it. However, pan around here to the low spot of the field. This lake appeared last year for the first time, but when I came here it was full of duck, wild duck. We had about, I'd say there was probably about 40 on this little pond here. There's some issues with the railway's drainage the other side of this hedge, but surprised to see it appear so quickly, and it is to do with levels. The field kind of dips here and goes up a little bit before the hedge. But my reason for showing you that is just to demonstrate that really the drilling decision has become really difficult. We've just taken delivery of winter wheat seed. Quite frankly, I'm not sure we're going to be able to drill it at the moment. Sort of all pressure's off because it's just so wet. Going forward, there was talk in the office this morning or this week about whether we just see if we could trigger some SFI agreement and not crop at all this year, especially on the heavy land. But the problem is we're in the final years of the CSS agreement, the countryside stewardship, so the computer would have to enable us, the RPA would have to enable us to switch out of CSS and into SFI. The advantage of SFI is you can react to weather events like this, and you can leave. You can trigger a scheme if you see weather conditions suiting you. So it's much more flexible. We would probably adopt it if we were in an SFI scheme, but because we're in the end of a CSS scheme, I'm not sure it's available to us. But that's something we're going to be investigating if this weather continues. And yes, more extreme weather events, and for the second year running before drilling kicks in, so a bit disappointing. All right, see you guys later. Cheers, bye.